Hey friends, Kim from Stamping and Perfection. Thank you for joining me today. I'm playing with this Baby It's Cold Outside winter stamp set from the November Hedgehog Hollow subscription box kit, along with one of the stencils that came in the kit. I'm going to be using this Walking in a Winter Wonderland stamp, along with these 4 little snowflakes. And I'm going to use a fantastic new stencil that was in the kit. There were 5 stencils in this kit and 2 stamp sets. So I'm going to use this candy cane one. I pulled out a piece of light blue scrap paper. This is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. I made my card 6 by 11 inches and just folded it in half. So the finished card size is 5 1/2 by 6. Then I cut down a white panel that's 5 1/4 by 5 3/4, and that stencil determined my card size. So if you have just a regular stencil that you want to use instead, if you don't have this subscription box and you have a regular stencil you want to use instead, you can go ahead and make a regular 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 size A2 card if you want to, or any size card you feel like. I'm going to be doing an emboss resist technique today with both the sentiment and the little snowflakes, and I'm using this stencil around my sentiment just because it's so cleverly designed. There were 3 of these corner stencils in this kit. Now I don't believe these kits are available anymore, so if you are interested in subscribing to these kits and having them delivered to your doorstep every month, the first one you would get is the December kit. And around November 15th or so, Alexandra at the Hedgehog Hollow will explain to you, she'll show you everything that's in the kit. And if you are interested, you definitely want to sign up right away because the kits sell out fast. If you do a regular subscriber period, like 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, you actually save a little money each month, and you get a subscriber bonus. Like you get something extra in the kit. It'll be an extra stamp set or an extra stencil or envelopes or, a special tool or glitter or embellishments or something. There's always something extra tucked in if you are a regular subscriber. So you can see I put all 4 of those little snowflakes on one clear block, and I'm just stamping these in clear embossing ink all around the stencil. And I'm going to carefully pull that stencil off. Now you can see I held that in place with a magnet. If you have pixie spray or some other adhesive that you like to use on the back of your stencils, go ahead and use that. I'm allergic to adhesive, so I don't use sprays ever. So I'm adding white embossing powder, and I'm going to go ahead and heat set this because I want to ink blend over this because I'm doing this embossed resist technique. I'm going to do the same thing with the sentiment. I'm going to stamp it in clear embossing powder and add white, I'm going to stamp it in clear embossing ink, add white embossing powder, and then heat set it. And I put that aside. I'm going to work on my background. I love having those 4 little stencils or 4 little snowflake stamps that I can create my background with. Anytime a stamp set has little filler stamps like that, I almost always make some kind of background with them. I love them. I think they're fun to make backgrounds. I also think they're really fun to add like some special details in 2 or 3 places on your card. I think they're amazing. So I'm always excited to see those little stamps. And I'm a huge fan of the 2 by 3 inch stamp sets where you just purchase little stamps like that and use them in special ways. So I am doing this emboss resist technique, and I'm ink blending this ink over this stencil at the same time. And since I can't use adhesive spray, I'm holding it very carefully and moving my magnet around. You can see how carefully I'm holding it as I move the magnet just to keep it in place. I'm being very careful with that. So I'm using this sponge sugar distress oxide, and I'm putting this all over the whole card. The ink blending will help make your background stamps pop out, and the fact that they're heat embossed means that they will not absorb the ink. The ink sits on top of it, so then you can just wipe it off with a paper towel or a rag or something, and it really pops. Like, it really makes your image pop. I love this technique. It's so quick and simple, and it doesn't take a lot of tools. If you have a heat gun and some embossing powder, embossing ink, you're good to go. And like, embossing powder lasts a super long time. So I'm adding some worn lipstick distress oxide to the edge. I did 2 edges and then pulled out that sponge sugar blender and went over the edge between the 2 different ink colors just to soften the blend in those spots. And notice that I do have the stencil in place because I don't want to add this worn lipstick over top of where I have the white spaces left by the stencil. Like, I want those white spaces to show. I don't mind having some worn lipstick in the pink areas of the stencil, but I don't want to lose my stencil pattern there. So I have that done, and I am going to, you can see I trimmed down this blue quite a bit, and I'm sort of wishing that I had trimmed it down on the right and left edge, because that's where I really needed it to fit, and maybe centered the sentiment so I had some blue above and below and the piece was a little bit more square. Like, that's what I'm wishing. However, that's not what I did, so it's a little bit more rectangular than I had envisioned, so I'm going to need to add some more snowflakes. So I will fill in those snowflakes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out some blue inks to actually help that sentiment pop a little bit more. On camera, it actually pops quite a bit, but in person, it didn't really pop off that light blue paper very well, being heat embossed in white. So I pulled out some tumbled glass and went over the whole thing, and then I am using Salty Ocean around the edges, and now I pulled out my sponge sugar blender again just to soften the edges. And I don't know why I'm loving this dark moody edge look lately, but it's one of those things I've just been doing. I've been doing a lot of ink blending, and I'm just really having fun with the dark edges on everything. And you know how you do a technique and then you get kind of stuck on it, and then you do it for a whole bunch of time and stop doing it, and then you don't do it for years. So I am adding that pink panel with some liquid glue to my card base, and I'll do the same thing with my sentiment. I'll put some liquid glue on the back of that. And another thing I wanted to tell you about, friends, that they do at the Hedgehog Hollow, they have virtual weekends throughout the year, and you get a whole weekend of classes, and you can choose to get just the ticket for the classes, or you can choose to get the box of goodies and supplies to make all the stuff that they are making in the classes. And the box, of course, is packed full of goodness and exclusive products that you can't purchase. So I'm going to put a link to it. Those are called Holidays weekends. I'm going to put a link to the next Holidays weekend, because if you are stuck at home still and hoping you can craft with some friends, that is a perfect way to do it. Like, it's a virtual weekend using Zoom, and you can craft along or just watch and craft later, but it will be a weekend you will really enjoy. I feel like the craft companies have really been doing a wonderful job through everything, giving us amazing products like the stuff I'm using today, but also to create experiences where we still can craft with friends. So if you are stuck at home and that is something I encourage you to try at least once if you haven't already, because it's a pretty fun experience. You might learn something, you might not learn anything. You might actually just, chat in the comment section with friends or ask questions of Alexandra or instructors or, other people. So like it's just good for I feel like that kind of stuff has been really good for my soul this year. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I'm going to put links to the subscription kits and the Hedgehog Holidays below. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel while you're here. Make sure you click that bell so you get notifications every time you upload a new video. And thank you so much for watching. You can see I'm putting a whole bunch of crown jewel gems. That's Vegas strip and I believe Rah Skirt neon crown jewel gems. So that finishes my card. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.